Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here. Don't forget to subscribe. But today we are talking about teens and disinformation because they're falling for it. Now this isn't good, and it's coming from various sources, also misinformation as well. And I actually had a really good and interesting conversation in a meeting last night regarding disinformation and the psychology thereof. And if you were in that meeting and you're watching or listening to this, I really wish I had seen this before we had that meeting. But let's dive in, because Liam Riley of CNN had a really interesting write-up on this, because there was a recent study that was literally published yesterday by Common Sense Media. They're a nonprofit advocacy group, and essentially they asked 1,000 teenagers ages 13 to 18 here in the United States about their experiences with media made by generative AI tools. And roughly 35% of teens reported being deceived by fake content online. Now, think about the Instagrams and the TikToks of the world. If you're an influencer, you are generating basically AI images of yourself, or you're enhancing yourself, etc., etc. That is literally an intent to deceive. You know what you're doing, so that is disinformation. And it gets worse than this, because 41% reported that they had encountered content that was real yet misleading. And 22% said that they had shared that fake information online and didn't realize it at the time. So in other words, they're falling for it and they're sharing it. Disinformation turns into misinformation. Disinformation is that intent that you know you're sharing something misleading for your own purposes, whatever that is. Somebody believes it and then shares that content, whether it's a good-looking picture of yourself or whether it's the sky is falling, horrible news, whatever it is. This is a huge, huge thing. Now, the findings also come as teens are adopting artificial intelligence more and more and more, as basically the planet is. Now, a common sense study in September showed that 7 in 10, or about 70% of teenagers had at least tried generative AI. Think ChatGPT, the new DeepSeek, etc., etc. And don't forget, one of the core issues here is that all of these top models, the ChatGPTs of the world, are still prone to hallucinations. So according to a July 2024 study by Cornell, the University of Washington, and the University of Waterloo, these are still doing it, which means that these top platforms, the ChatGPTs of the world, still create false information, essentially, and here it is. Now, the intent, obviously, of an AI is not necessarily to deceive, but its intent is to please. I've actually written articles on that where I essentially got it to lie to me because it was assuming that I wanted to hear an answer, and therefore it gave me that answer, even though I knew that answer was demonstrably false. So understand there is some intent there, even though it's not like, a human mind in that sense. So teenagers who encounter fake online content were also more likely to say that AI would exacerbate their verification of online information. The study also asked them about their thoughts on major tech corporations, including Google, Apple, Meta, TikTok, and Microsoft. And about half of the teenagers don't trust big tech, essentially in terms of big tech making responsible decisions about how they would use AI. And that's one of the things we're talking about. President Trump just unveiled the Stargate program, a $500 billion investment with Sam Altman of OpenAI, and SoftBank was there as well. But we also just removed the ethical guardrails that were put in the previous administration. And by virtue of that, are we going to be building Terminators? I mean, there's no guidelines, so these are things that we have to basically understand and adapt, not to mention the fact that teens are growing up in this world of just total adoption of technology, from social media now to artificial intelligence. Now, teens' big trust of big tech also echoes a growing dissatisfaction with major tech companies in general across the United States. American adults also have to contend with increases in misleading and altogether fake content, which is absolutely true. I mean, as somebody that tracks disinformation, for bespoke needs, for clients and stuff, it is unbelievable what people are reading, how the truth is being twisted, and they're ending up believing it, and it's reinforcing confirmation bias. So, I'm not getting political, but if you're on the right or you're on the left or whatever, and you're hearing disinformation that really complements your belief system, it digs you in even more. Even if you're relying on demonstrably false information, you tend not to believe it. That's when you get, everything is fake news except what I believe. So this is obviously exacerbating essentially the digital guardrails that we have here, and we don't have many. So this obviously is a big problem. I'll leave it at that. But longitudinally, I do think that we're doing the younger generations serious disservice. Go read anything that Jonathan Haidt has written about it. His latest book, The Anxious Generation, is really good on that. But once again, I think we really have to put guardrails around artificial intelligence, and we really have to work on essentially killing that hallucination side, or basically having an artificial intelligence co-opted to intentionally generate misleading information when prompted for a question. DeepSeek is now open source. You can go on GitHub and download it. Researchers just basically were able to download it, run it on something like $40 worth of equipment. I'm guessing like a Raspberry Pi. I'm about to read that article soon. So this is something that is just going to be nonstop, and there's no reason why the Al-Qaedas or the ISISes of the world couldn't have their own AI talking about what's the top 10 countries in the world. The caliphate is number one, and that's the issue we have. So good luck to all of us. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, and please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private and accurately informed. Take care.